Good day, IT professionals and tech savvy persons. It's your girl Riri coming to you with a story out of San Francisco, California, where the committee there has given approval for police to deploy robots with lethal capabilities. Your concern may be, what does this have to do with cyber or information security? I'm going to look at this story from my ITI, and I hope that you guys do the same. We're going to start out with a clip from CBS News that just occurred just this past Monday. So take a quick look, and I'll be right back.
American city have been given the authority to use remote-controlled robots that are capable of using deadly force in emergency situations. CBS's Jeff Begaze reports there was vocal opposition to the plan.
San Francisco police are assuring the public that robots armed with explosives would only be used sparingly.
We have somebody who's shooting, killing people, a sniper, etc. We're going to do everything we can to stop the threat.
The city's Board of Supervisors voted overwhelmingly in favor of the idea Monday night. But those against it raised ethical concerns and cited the impact on people of color.
You got to recognize they will be disproportionately used against black and brown communities.
For the last decade, the militarization of police has increasingly been a concern. In 2014, heavy weaponry in Ferguson, Missouri, sparked a backlash after Michael Brown's fatal police shooting. Armed robots are part of that debate. Currently, there are more than 1,000 robots and unmanned vehicles in use by police departments, primarily by bomb squads. The policies in cities like San Francisco could clear the way for an expanded use of robots as weapons.
He's down.
One of the first such incidents happened in 2016, when Dallas police deployed one against a suspect who had gunned down 5 police officers. In a statement today, San Francisco police acknowledged that it does not have a specific plan in place on when to use armed robots.
If we get to a point where there's uncertainty about who is responsible for the ultimate death of the individual causing whatever chaos they were causing, that is where I think it would be problematic.
In San Francisco, this policy will have to get another approval from the Board of Supervisors next week, and then it would have to be signed into law by the city's mayor, London Breed, a Democrat who has expressed her support for this proposal. Nora.
Those robots are...
So this clip does a great job of addressing the concerns from all sides. The police and their concerns, the civil concerns, and how it's going to impact the community. I'll touch on that in just a moment. But again, like I said, I'm going to look at this from a cybersecurity professional's perspective. But just to start out, I found it interesting that the vote to move forward with deploying this type of technology, the vote was 8-3 in a closed committee, with the majority agreeing to grant police the option to move forward with these type of military robots. I'm going to read a couple quotes from the committee and the San Francisco PD. Supervisor Connie Chang, a member of that committee, she forwarded the full proposal to the board, and she said she understands the concerns of using brute force, but, quote, according to state law, her committee is required to approve the use of this equipment. So here we are, and it's definitely not an easy decision, unquote. The San Francisco Police Department said it does not have pre-armed robots and has no plans to arm them with guns. But the department could deploy robots equipped with explosives to contact, incapacitate, disorient violent, armed, or dangerous subjects, when lives are at stake. Quote, these robots are equipped in a manner that would only be used in extreme circumstances to save or prevent further loss of innocent lives. Unquote. So again, there's concerns on both sides. I could definitely see how this could be used in the event of a mall attack. We've seen a lot of those lately. Shopping center attack, and most important, to a lot of us, are schools when these things occur at schools. So I could see how they could definitely come into benefit, but I can also see the civil side of this concern as well. But looking at this from the IT perspective, two concerns that came out to me that when I read this article that stood out to me, an AI robot exceeding its pre programmed instructions, or, of course, as we see all the time here, hacking. Um, so, this solution definitely needs a longer term perspective from what I see. Um, Ultimately, when you look at robotics, when you look at AI, it's at the end of the day, it's software. It's big machines tied to a software package. In short, that pretty much is what it is. And as we know, software is subject to vulnerabilities, major vulnerabilities, including bugs, updates, and patching. The ability to expose sensitive data, injections, buffer overflow, broken access controls, insecure decentralization. I'm going to see that in another story that comes out of Virginia this week. And poor authentication. We're seeing that across the board with major companies that authentication just is not sufficient. What can this result in? In addition to the civil, concerns that they have, hacking this type of equipment could result in physical, economic, social, or environmental loss. So all these things really need to be taken into concern instead of their, just immediate needs with the public. So I want to take a step back, and of course, we could tie this into a myriad of sci-fi movies. I'm going to spare you. I'm sure there's many references we can come to. Yeah, I may put one or two in there. But this, instead of tying this to movies, this makes me think of a use case I encountered around 2017, where hacks were performed on industrial robots. If you're familiar with the Fanuc style of robots, Amazon uses those a lot right now in their distribution centers. They're designed to be collaborative or human assistive tools. Researchers in this particular instant found that these types of robots, the software had no real authentication once it had been installed, and implemented only easy, cracked integrity checks meant to prevent hackers from installing malicious updates, but none of the other things that I previously listed. In the video I'm about to demo, I'm not going to play the whole thing. You can find this on YouTube, or I'll link to it below. I don't own the credits of it, but I'm going to play about a minute of it. And what it basically shows is this, this simple rudimentary software program. And most industrial software, it's designed just for that. The thoughts of someone using it maliciously are usually not designed into the application, which is why we need to move to multi-factor authentication. But in short, The demo shows a buffer overflow vulnerability and how these researchers are able to gain unauthorized access to the robot's operating system and override its safety config file. So I'll give you a minute to take a look at that. So, okay, as you can see, with some rudimentary Python programming, they were able to override the constraints of the robot's movements, which limits its speeds and the forces that it can apply and how it reacts with infrared sensors when it detects that somebody is nearby. And they were able to do this in just a few lines of code. Um, that this could not only cause the robot to damage itself by overextending or overstressing its arms, but could also, of course, harm human workers within reach. Um, this particular research company quoted that the robots have the force to cause actual bone fractures, quote unquote. Safety precautions are an ultimate way that they can avoid hurting people around them, but if they are hacked, the consequences could be catastrophic. So let's apply this thought to San Francisco with the potential of an armed and wireless enabled robot linked to a county or municipality's website. And I hope in their long term planning they do consider these things. In a quote from the San Francisco's Public Defender's Office on Monday, um, they said again, quote unquote, we are continuously being asked to do things in the name of increasing weaponry and opportunities for negative interaction between the police department and people of color. This is just one of them. So ultimately, that is their concern in how this may be used. To the board granting police the ability to kill community members remotely goes against the city's progressive values. So, again, I certainly understand the immediate concern for law enforcement and its safety and bringing peace as needed, but maybe there is an alternative or long term planning that needs to be considered when planning out their town's needs, um, because it goes just beyond using the technology. It's the management and the just the moral issues that come with doing so. So this story, although initially probably a civic concern, it has an IT concern as well. I'd love to know your thoughts here on this. I'll be bringing out a similar story later on this week. Check out my gift guide posted in the description. I think this video was long enough, so check out my gift guide. And again, check out some free learning resources. One, again, great learning resources is one that I've highlighted, which actually offers a free ethical hacking certificate, something that applies to what we're talking about here. So, with that, I'm going to wrap up. Like, share, subscribe, and I would appreciate your thoughts. Bye bye.